All right, I have 6:02, so we'll call this meeting to order. Will you please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And we'll start with roll call. We have Guy. Here. Ashley. Here. Ember. Here. Nate. Here. And Derek is here. We also have two board member elects joining us in the crowd tonight. Ken Dickerson and Jeff Beglin. Thank you very much for being here. And we'll take care of the swearing in a little later in the meeting agenda. They officially take their seats starting next Monday as the inauguration date for Wisconsin school board elections. So first off, we'll start off with any public comment. And we have none this evening. So now we'll go right into student council update.
And I had that today because Haley couldn't be here either because the vice president. So they sent me an email. I'm unable to attend the meeting tomorrow. So basically, they want to talk about April 22nd this Friday. They're using 3rd and 4th hours. The student council is a new Earth Day cleanup for our high school. We'll be going out to the local roads like we've done in years past and helping clean up with that. There's a family in our community that had the unfortunate diagnosis of cancer, and so the student council is doing a hat day on May 13th and charging $1 for every kid that wants to wear a hat, and all the proceeds will go to that family to help that family out in need. So that's really really nice of them to do that. Preparations for next year's homecoming and things are underway. It will be an early homecoming, so our goal is to have t-shirt designs and everything kind of ordered when we leave here, so that when they come back in September, that we're ready to go and happening. And that's the three things that I have. And they said they informed me it's $2 instead of $1 for the hat. So
Thank you very much. Next up, we'll go to Celebrate Fall River.
We have a lot of celebrations. We probably started with the elementary staff week of the young child.
So thank you for having us. Heather's kindergarten, I'm 4K early childhood, and so we're here to tell you about some fun and good stuff going on with our youngest learners. So April 4th through the 8th was Week of the Young Child, and NAEYC, which is the National Association of Education for Young Children, kind of puts out some guidelines and themes for each day. So the focus is just our youngest learners those are the key years, crucial points in their development and learning. So if we just want to dive in backwards. So here's just kind of a study.
High school did in the 60s, and they found out that children who attend preschool, which we'll see soon on my preschool, kids are here, do better in life. They do better in the future. There's less crime. They're more likely to graduate from high school. So the earlier that we can start, the better the chances are that they're going to have good outcomes.
So NAEYC kind of puts out like guidelines that you can follow in themes. So we'll go through. Monday was Music Monday. And so we all got together and did different songs and dances together. And as you can see by the pictures, they had an absolute blast. We did some group dances. Yeah.
I had a whole DJ set up. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was good.
You're looking for a DJ.
Right. And then after the week, kindergarten 5K wrote about their favorite things. So we included some of those. I like Music Monday because we got to have a dance party. I like Monday dance party and Artsy Thursday because I like pudding and dancing. My favorite song was Ghostbusters. Nice dancing. By the age of 3 years old, it's estimated 95% of a child's brain capacity is already developed. the more synapses that we can connect, the more experiences that we can give them at a young age, the more opportunity they have to learn when they get older. You cannot learn something new unless you have something to connect to it. So we try in our 4 and 5K, what we're trying to do is equal the playing field. A lot of the kids that come in, because we're in Fall River, they might have the same background, so their knowledge is very similar. But there's others that might not. And so in 4 and 5K, we want to even that playing field, give them all the background knowledge so they can get to 1st and 2nd grade at the same point. Here we go. Tasty Tuesday. Okay.
Sure. So we got together, we did a theme. What was the morning class?
Morning was bear food.
So we
Morning
tried
was bear.
different things that a bear would eat. And then the afternoon class, we did squirrel, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So in the morning, they tried tuna, they tried blackberry, it was jelly, and they tried honey. And in the afternoon, there were seeds, carrots. Yeah, seeds, carrots, we see all the seeds. What else was squirrels eating? Anyway, still today, someone said, I'm a bear and I'm a squirrel. They still think it's fun with that. This was supposed to be bear, she copied the wrong word, brother. Like, because it is good. And she liked the berries. Everything I need to know, I learned in kindergarten. We've all heard that, right? That was what that is. Don't hit people, put things back where they belong. So that's
Clean up your own mess.
clean up your own mess. Work together Wednesday.
So we kind of split on this one. It just didn't work out. My class went to the new Children's Museum in Sun Prairie, which was perfect for this week and for this day. And they got to explore all different areas, art, creativity. So those pictures can kind of show up all the amazing things that they could do there. Heather's class went outside and did
We'll get
chalk.
there. First,
Okay.
we have to say that even the big kids
Oh,
had fun at the museum. Get them to come in.
those chairs were pretty fun.
Oh, and then back at home, we did chalk drawings and we had to work together. In kindergarten, sometimes we don't like to share spaces or share our things. And so they got to start their chalk drawing, but anybody could add to your chalk drawing. And it went pretty well, So we slowly filled up the sidewalks and we had to get it in before the rain. And then it rained and everything went away. We got some good.
Clean slate.
He was tracing his shoe and then everybody had to trace their shoe. You can see they're sitting in the chalk. Okay, what's so special about kindergarten? Kindergartners playfully create stories, castles, and paintings with one another. They develop and refine their abilities to think creatively and work collaboratively, which is what we're working on that day. Precisely the abilities most needed to achieve success. My husband is an engineer in Sun Prairie, and one of the main questions they ask is, how well do you work collaboratively? United States and England tend to concentrate on individuals, and there's not a lot of, they don't, in their schools, they're not teaching as much collaboration. So we try to really start that early, because we are getting there in our upper elementary, middle school, and high school is getting more collaborative. College is getting more collaborative. So we're working on it. Artsy Thursday. Chocolate pudding.
I think the pictures speak for itself.
Right? This was a favorite. This
Yeah.
was the afternoon, actually. In the morning, we did 3 arts, so we just had a ton of art supplies out, and they got to do whatever they wanted to do with it. Because 4K has 2 classes, every day we had 2 events. So the morning class would come to 5K and we would do something, and then we changed it up because the same 5K class would join then a different 4K class in the afternoon.
So they got double the fun.
They did. They had
Mhm.
double the fun. And most of these, you can see they did very well at just painting. But here you could just see it in the picture. Do
was
I
yummy.
eat it?
Mhm. Do I eat it or paint with it?
Oh, yeah.
Both.
And you can see right back there. See what they're doing?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. My favorite day is Arts and Thursday because it is my favorite thing to do. A cat I made and we painted with pudding. I like brown, so because I love pudding. It was a hit. And that's something I did. I told him that when I was in kindergarten in 1976, we painted with pudding. And then later I heard someone say, well, they said to me, because Mrs. Robbins, when you were in kindergarten, paint wasn't invented yet. So you had to paint with pudding. The word for kindergarten comes from the German language. Kinder meaning children and garden, garden being garden. So what we're trying to do is grow them. You know, we're trying to really give them a lot of opportunities. Nurture them just like we would a little plant. Family Friday.
So we got to end it by celebrating with families. Obviously, we can't do our job without supportive and engaging families. And this was my first event with families in the classroom since pre-COVID, so that was pretty exciting. We've done other stuff down at the park, but I think the consensus was that it was nice to be, you know, parents want to see their kids in the classroom, and kids want to show off their classroom and their peers and their spots and things like that. So we just had a nice social gathering.
And you can see this nice table that was set up for
Remember
breakfast.
that for at the end.
Beautiful, isn't that? Just beautiful. Miss Heber set that all up.
So you can tell they all had a good time. Right there.
I like ice cream better than picnics because it is better.
You're a very good reader.
It's-
This one's easy.
I like Family Friday because I like ice cream. My mom and dad came to eat ice cream.
They don't
afternoon.
teach that in school either. It's a developed skill.
Yes. I like Family Friday because my family came. We got to have breakfast and ice cream
Sunday.
Sundays because it had candied jelly beans. And that was a chalk drawing, and this is the blooper reel.
Oh, that was awesome.
So I had said we should move the table so they could go on both sides of the table.
So I did in the morning. She was in her classroom.
I was oblivious.
Laughing at me.
And then she decides to help.
That was about 15 minutes before families arrived.
We had to add that in.
And we got it back together and everything went fine.
I didn't know about it until after the fact.
I didn't tell her. We both went home and I were like, we can't tell her. She set it all up. We only lost 6 points. I was-
Nothing broke, everything survived.
And it's a great way to start staff.
And then I gave him permission to use the film and he said he wasn't going to ask permission.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the both of them and Mrs. Burr for just what they do in their classroom. I mean, you walk into Mr. Polishin's room or any other like upper level room, you can really, you know, it's pretty, okay, we're doing math right now, boom, boom, boom. You walk into Heather's room and they're, you know, defining the weather or this or that, and all of a sudden it turns into a math lesson because of these straws and counting down to how many days until summer from 28 down, I believe it was 28 today. So every little thing they do at that level, it looks age appropriate, obviously, a lot of play-based stuff, things like that, but they're infusing instruction and education every step of the way, and they do a marvelous job of that. So thank you.
Having a bad day, come and visit one of the classrooms and watch those little guys. You'll be happy the rest of the day.
And we love visitors, so come anytime.
Great thing.
And handstand.
We have, Mr. Polish and forensics are going next. Come on down.
So could I have Lucas, Willow, Autumn, and Josh come on up? These were the four kids that. These are the four kids that participated in forensics that made it all the way to state. We had one other person that didn't make it all the way to state. These students are just totally amazing. They are self-motivated. They coach themselves. They practice on their own. I basically just fill out forms, submit videos, and drive them around. They are lifelong learners and just wonderful people. So Josh, Lucas, and Autumn did play acting, and they made it all the way to state, and at state, we got a perfect 25 out of 25 goal. And Willow did prose reading and got a 24 out of 25 for a silver medal, which is kind of just amazing. They've got such drive to do well. A couple of things I also wanted to mention. These kids also do honors choir and honors band. Some of them do basketball, track, cross country, band choir, pep band, musical, trap team, yada, and academic bowl. I'm sure, what else did I miss? I mean, they are very active. Did I miss it? And they also do FBL. So could you tell a little bit about your forensics experience and what you did? Willow, you can go first.
I did prose on my own, which involves staring at a wall and talking to yourself a lot, and just looking in a mirror and being like, I could have more facial expressions here. Yeah, but it's a fun thing to go out and just be able to perform in front of some like group of kids from different schools and stuff, meet a lot of different people.
And then for me, this is kind of big because freshman year, I believe it was, we went to state, but we did not get to go because it got canceled because of COVID. So this was our first state since pandemic. And I really liked the experience. I actually made quite a few friends from our play acting groups that we met. So I thought it was good.
Yeah, definitely freshman year we had a group, wasn't able to. Sophomore year, I did a different thing, radio news broadcasting. That was virtual though. So definitely when it's a public speaking thing, it definitely wasn't the same as being in person, and being able to go back and in person, and we were doing it live in front of a judge, other people who definitely were in the same situation as us, and also practicing before on our own. We were definitely doing some very hilarious takes and we're laughing half the time, but somehow we got it together and we're able to do it anyway at the actual thing.
So the only years I did forensics were freshman year, which unfortunately, as Lucas mentioned, got canceled, and this year. So I was super happy that we got to state again and actually got to go this time. And we made some lovely friends who were also doing play acting, whom we were still in contact with.
Last year, Josh did the radio news, and what they do, they give you a script. You have so many minutes to narrow that script down to a 5-minute news broadcast. So by practicing, he had to cross out, I don't need this, I don't need that. It was amazing to watch him work. So these kids are just phenomenal.
Before we move on to FBLA,
Is State back in Madison still?
No,
Oh.
Madison didn't want us.
Okay.
So DeForest did.
Oh, nice.
DeForest hosts district every year. Sub-district rotates from district to district, but we're hoping next year we get to go to Madison. Because we can go out to you. So here's Mr. Troutman.
Thank you. We want to celebrate these four again on their state trip to FBLA. Their state conference was in Madison, the Alliant Energy Center. Besides these four, I shouldn't forget, we did have two other people that qualified for state. Matt Miller was first in insurance risk management, and Sam Salzman was third in business calculations. But being it was our spring break, it was March 28th, 29th, they had, understandably so, family vacations that they went to. So attending was Autumn and Josh for collaborative test. They worked together on the test in marketing. Lucas took a test in journalism. And Willow took fourth, qualifying for nationals in business communication. So she didn't bring it with her, but she got a nice little trophy that they have a very nice presentation, the award ceremony that they do for all the events. There's like a total of 66 events, ranging from all kinds of activities and tests, and some are speaking, presentations, etc. So I want to give this to you. Congratulations. You'll be going to Chicago, June 28th, 29th, to take another business communications test. I should add, these people all qualified at state. We're Region 5. Fall River is part of Region 5. There's 7 regions in FBLA. So for state competition, 3 qualify for each of their regional competitions. So there's 21 participants in each of their categories. So
President of our so our state, they have like student officers, and our state president was in the same category as me, so that was really intimidating because she's like a senior, been doing FBLA since middle school, and I was like, oh, great.
it was exciting, and I know this was the first experience for them. FBLA was canceled for 2 years with COVID. I missed out. It was special for me because I missed out. Madison O'Brien, who graduated in 2020, was a state parliamentarian. And they really, for the state election, they took part, Josh and Will took part of the state election for next year's state officers. But then they have a nice farewell ceremony for the state officers for this year. So, you know, Madison O'Brien missed out on that. But it was exciting, and I know all the advisors in that were just elated, and, you know, 2 years later to finally be back, hopefully to normal and back in person. Anybody else like to share any more, or? Good. All right.
Thank you.
Our musical, been a little stressed. A week from today is our dress rehearsal, and then next Friday and Saturday are when the shows are. So that's very exciting. We worked really hard, put in a lot of time.
Seniors, great.
Oh yeah, the scenery is crazy.
You guys painted a lot.
And I've seen it
We
every
have
day.
our iconic tower that we
Oh
have.
yeah, we're building a
that,
lighthouse.
yeah, which
We
we
built a
painted
lighthouse.
over. It is now a lighthouse, which it has not changed since
Yeah.
like before my 8th grade year.
Yeah, Mr. Matura and Mrs. Schroeder are definitely putting in a lot of work this year for the musical, especially because last year we didn't have a musical, and the year before that it was cut off right in the middle. So that was a little disappointing.
What musical
The Pirates of Penzance,
is it?
which is fitting.
And the show times for Friday are 7 p.m. and the show times for Saturday are 5 p.m.
And yeah, that's in a week, over a week.
Yeah.
Do you all have time to sleep? It sounds like.
Maybe.
It varies night to night.
You just don't, I don't.
I just don't sleep by day.
Josh just like stares at. Just stays up for an hour and then he's good for the next day.
But it's a fun time.
Thank you all for representing our school so well. It's all that you do, and keep spreading the word to more students and get them involved, and keep doing great stuff. Thank you very much. Thank you to our advisors too. Thank you for being here. Thank you to all our advisors. It can be, like you may say, it's just forms and driving, but it's still extra work, especially after school days. It's something that. It's a very important job. Next up is a discussion and possible action on Pirates plan for safer sailing.
We really don't have any suggestions. You get the nursing news, it comes out each week. I think, thank you, Jessica, for putting all that together. It's no changes.
So is that something I know we talked about this before, would you like to move that under the district administrator reports?
We could move that there next time.
Okay, because that's just something I'm just look for in your part. And next up is discussion and possible action on school board meeting minutes from March 16th, 2022, regular school board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 16th, 2022 regular school board meeting minutes.
Second that. We have a motion by Ember, second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is approval to accept the treasurer's report.
You have the treasurer's report. There's nothing really new there that I haven't talked about, the trends that have been going on before. The only thing I'd talk about financially is that Ryan, Brian, Colleen, and I have now met with every teacher and department head, looking at their budget for this year, where they stand, and predicting budgets for next year too. So we've met with everybody now, and now we're putting it up into our spreadsheets to come up with the final budget for next year.
I know you mentioned before, the expenditures were a little bit higher right now than last year at this time.
A lot of it included in here is all the money for the ESSER, the COVID grants. For instance, a $95,000 bus kicks up expenditures a whole lot, but that's a lot that has to do with that, with the COVID money.
I'll take a motion. Anyone else have any questions?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ashley, second by Ember to accept the treasurer's report. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Then next up, I will make the motion to approve payroll for April 29th, 2022 and May 13th, 2022, and vouchers 422,776 to 422,891 and 2021,00258 to 2021,00434 in the amount of $303,351.12.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Derek, second by Ashley. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. The next up is the gifts and donation for the track team donations.
The people are listed there, Tom Paul's, Bank Farms, F&M Union Bank, EK Machine, all gave donations to help lower the cost of the trap shooting this year. I don't know if Mr. Paul, if you want to talk more on it, or any
It's supposed to
specific.
say crawfish Chesapeake.
Chesapeake's donation, so, but we thank them for their support, and helping our kids get into shooting, and also lowering those costs for the families. It's really awesome of those people to do that.
I can talk a little bit about it. It's been canceled a lot because of the rain this spring. But it is where they basically provide all the ammunition for the students to participate, even though we have funds, but a lack of ammunition to purchase. But we're making it go a bit, and hopefully as ammunition becomes more available, we can promote it a little bit more. Mark Nicholson has been kind of hesitant on really promoting it because we're struggling to buy. Not from a lack of funds, but just from a lack of ammunition out there.
So if you have a box of 7.5 shot trap loads, donate them to the team.
We were able to see, we, from our Manchester club, we work through federal, and they come over the program and they make sure the kids at the youth programs get shells.
So that would be a Mark Nicholson.
So,
He's
yeah,
the one who collects all that stuff.
so I'll talk with Mark, but we might have some. To tell you.
But they have a lot of, the students have a lot of fun, and we just finished a couple practices. And so tonight was actually supposed to be the first true thing. It's like a club, and they shoot around all their different sports. There's some people that come out in their baseball uniforms and just grab their shotgun and start shooting with us. So it's kind of a little crazy, and they're really good about just having the shooting time, setting them up and working around kids' schedules. And we have a lot of extra practices, so they have their set number of shoots that they have to have for what Mark enters into the system for us to compete against the teams.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the donations? Thank you very much, everybody. Next up will be the committee reports, and we had the education committee earlier this evening.
I can touch base on that if you want. Education committee, Kendra and Amy, we're here, Kendra, Hayden, and Amy Blumenthal, just kind of a touching base and showing us where we are about middle school, high school with proficiency scales and standards, and really just as I kind of explained it to the group that was here, as we pushed off 7 years ago in the boat of standards-based grading, kind of feeling like you know where you're going. You know, point I'd always said it was going to be your kind of discussion and your people how to make these decisions, and really Kendra and Amy doing the work and meeting with staff and getting us these proficiency scales and getting ready to go. Really, it's done a great amount of work and really did a great job. And so proud of kind of where we're at. Just kind of update on where we were. So.
Any questions or comments for the education committee? All right. And next up will be new business, and we will start with the oath of office for the newly elected school board members. So Ember will be leading the oath of office, and just a reminder that they initially officially take their inauguration seats on the 25th this year, which is Monday. So come on up.
Jeff, you wanna start? You just want to talk about my All right, you can repeat after me. I, Jessica Baglin,
I, Jacob Beglin,
having been elected or appointed to the office of school board member,
having been elected or appointed to the office of school board member,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You want to face this way, then we
There you
get the
go.
wolf faces.
I was like.
There you go, there you go, there you go.
All right, please repeat after me. I, Guy Robbins,
I got Roberts,
having been elected or appointed to the office of school board member,
having been elected or appointed to a school board member,
but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not entered upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully discharge the duties of the set best of my ability. or whatever.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Sorry, I wish I could figure out where to end, but it's kind of a run-on sentence. So it's kind of hard. You did good.
Some of those are long.
Right after. Just read the whole thing right now. Let's see how good it is.
Well, are you ready?
Not good.
I, Ken Dickerson,
I, Ken Dickerson,
having been elected or appointed to the office of school board member,
having been elected or appointed to the office of school board member,
but have not entered upon the duties thereof,
but have not entered upon the duties thereof,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of said office
the duties of said office
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a big test for everybody. So, and we will take this moment to recognize Ashley and Ember both for their years of service. So first, start with Ashley for her 6 years of service to the Fall River School Board. And thank you very much for all the time you put in and the advocate you've been for kids and bringing your knowledge of school to the school board. And as a parent also, thank you very much. So you get a picture there too. Yes.
You can turn this way, we get a picture.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Brian, come in a little.
Hey,
closer.
got it.
Brian, come a little bit closer.
I got it.
And Ember, not to done with her 9 years of service, her veteran experience here on the school board. Thank you very much. You obviously came on at a time. You were very much a new face at the time of as a traditional school board, we'll say, and brought lots of fresh, new, young ideas for Fall River, and have been kind of a solid bedrock for 9 years through decision-making and expertise. So expect phone calls and questions when we say, what did we say when this was voted on or whatever? So thank you very much from a parent role and community member and your knowledge of education too. We greatly appreciate your years of service. Yes.
Hey, where are you going?
That was pretty good.
Derek, one more.
Come on, Derek, get in there.
Sorry about
What are
that.
you waiting for?
All right.
Perfect, thank you.
Of course, and please come back, especially at the annual meetings. We always need, for everybody here at the annual meetings especially, we need voters. So, but anytime, you're welcome to come and join us. And like I said, prepare for phone calls or emails of like, well, what's going on here? What are we thinking? Don't be a stranger.
With a couple of years of COVID, it's really hard to know it, getting involved when I did. It's been really overwhelming, and there's been times where I certainly haven't agreed with everything that Ashley or Ember have said. And I know there's certainly times where they haven't agreed on things that I've said, but I certainly can say that it's a really tough job. But I really respect their opinions, and it takes guts to stand up here, whether you agree with them or not, and to say that you would do it a different way. I certainly learned that right away, that it's a lot more than what you think it is. And you're really humbled in a lot of ways when people start asking questions and you don't have answers. So I just want to say thank you too, because like I said, it's a tough job, and these last couple of years have been crazy. So thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're still on the hook for 5 more days. So if anything pops up, you know.
And I'm going to replace my phone number with one of yours.
So next up is discussion and possible action on the prom location.
I think they're gonna set up, I'm also the junior class advisor. And I want to introduce Lucas Simons and Morgan Peterson, who would like the attention in this matter. Share. That's no problem. I should, while they're setting up, did you make a copy of the contract?
Yes, it's in their
and that,
packet.
of the first page and that, so you've got reference to what the contract is. I will add, I guess, while they're setting up, still dead time here. As a junior class advisor, I also see a lot of freshmen, sophomores and seniors in the class. And I know Morgan and them put together a petition, signed a bunch of stuff. I found out about it a little bit later. And then when they brought this to me, I have been talking to the underclassmen and the seniors and that, and they're all for this as far as, yeah, there's some that, you know, have their opinions in that, but the majority are excited.
Actually, now their opinions on it,
Uh-oh.
everyone wanted it. Anyways, okay, so this year we have actually had the opportunity to have a lot of money in our account for junior prom this year. And so we proposed that we have it at a different location than the complex, because we haven't been able to do that the past 2 years because of COVID and stuff like that. So the past dances that we've had have been at the complex, and we finally have the opportunity to have it somewhere else. So we propose that we have it at Springbrook Events. It is actually where I work. It's in Burnett, Wisconsin, about 25 minutes away. So when you're heading towards Beaver Dam, it's just like on the outskirts of Beaver Dam. So it's, well, I just said that. It costs about $7 a person, and we are estimated about 100 students attending. And then we plan to have our tickets priced at $10 a person in order to make some revenue back on that. And, yeah. We have enough funds in our account to cover the cost of the venue, as well as additional decorations to set up as our theme. And the venue is allowing us to decorate the night before for 2 hours, and it requires the decorations to be taken down the night of, which is usual for at the complex as well. And the tables and chairs are included in the pricing that they've already given us for renting the venue out. So our junior class has talked, and we all want to make this prom a memorable one. We have the money to pay for all the things that we need to make it great, such as the venue. It's a senior's last prom, it's our junior prom, it's the freshman's first prom, and the senior and junior class have missed out on one prom each. And so we really want to make it special. To prove this, we've gathered a list of signatures. But we gathered a list of signatures from a bunch of students from all different grades that say that they are fine with it being 25 minutes away. They just want it to be at this venue. And so the papers that they signed states that they would rather have prom at Springbrook than at the athletic complex this year. And we would also like to get things back to normal, since after the pandemic for the past years, prom has been at a separate location, or hasn't been at a separate location other than the school and living room. We've made some pros and cons list. So Springbrook is air conditioning, and they have a beautiful landscape, and there's 3 ponds, and there's like swans in the ponds. There's a church, there's a big balcony, there's a sunny staircase that we can take pictures at.
Because Morgan, what is this venue normally used for?
It's normally used for weddings and
Mrs. Wagner actually had her wedding there. I was talking to her about it today.
Really?
Yeah.
yeah. So
You were saying it was pretty unique that a weekend is open.
yeah,
correct?
because we are actually booked until 2023 as a So it's pretty surreal that this one weekend that we had already planned prom for is actually open. And not many additional decorations will be needed because it's so beautiful already, and we don't have to be decorating the gym. And it has multiple bathrooms, there's a lighted walkway and beautiful scenery, and there's plenty of space for the grand march so that it's not outside or anything, and there's plenty of space. And there's plenty of space in the dance for in general. The cons would only be that it's 25 minutes away and be high cost, but we make 70% of the proceeds back from the tickets. The athletic complex pros, it's convenient and there's no cost, but it gets very hot when we have dances in there. Like last year, we opened stuff up, but then a lot of people were outside and not really dancing, so there wasn't much going on.
Wasn't it kind of rain?
It rained last year and the,
Rain right kind of at the beginning.
yeah, as the grand march was happening, so.
And it was a warm day that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was also very windy. Hair was going everywhere. There wasn't much space for the dance, and there wasn't really a good place for the grand march because it was like outside and it wasn't very covered. And that was last year, we were standing in the rain, and there's lots of decoration needed to fill like the emptiness of the gym. And not a great space for pictures, but yeah. So money, some people think that the money is a big problem, but it really isn't a bad price for this venue, especially. I know the prices that it can get to. And we also have the money saved up from winning the contest during homecoming, and that we saved up for this very reason, junior prom. And the ticket prices will help us get that money back, as I said. And so this money can be used next year for our senior trip. Additionally, so the venue is allowing us to pay $250 down. And then after the heads are all counted at prom, then we can pay the rest towards them for. And then 25 minutes away issue, some people may view that as an issue, but people already travel as far as Madison to eat, take pictures, and which is further than the venue. And last year, this year, the freshmen for homecoming drove all the way to the Capitol, which is 40 minutes away, and back from the Capitol for pictures. But this, you could drive to Beaver Dam, eat, have the pictures at the place where you're going to be at, so it's even convenient. And a majority of the people already carpool, which makes transportation very easy, and there are lots of places in and around Beaver Dam for people to eat. Photos can be taken at Springbrook. There are great locations on the grounds for this. 3 ponds with local swans, a bridge, an antique church, a grand staircase off back deck, and along with many other beautiful outdoor settings. And then we can show you the actual pieces. one moment.
I will add, as they're doing this, we've gone to Kestel Ridge for I don't know how many years. Last year, because of COVID, it was canceled, but that actually last year was the first year that it was at, you know, the school complex. So it's not like we haven't in the past gone to a different venue outside of Fall River.
And Morgan, do they like, I know with Kestrel too, like, they were charging for food, like, we weren't gonna be allowed to bring in our food plates and stuff
We're
like
allowed to
that.
bring in all of our own desserts and everything. We aren't allowed to bring in drinks just because some
Agreed.
drinks and.
Agreed.
But we are allowed to drink buy like sodas and waters from the bar that they will have people manage.
So like, are
Which would be
you
like
gonna have the kids have to buy it, or is the?
Randolph had their prom there, and what they did the same thing for them. They offer soda and water at the bar for $2. It's in both for $2, but it's a cash, the kids, yeah.
Show you the 360
Oh, that-
view once it works.
So they're providing the bartender then?
Say what?
They're providing the.
I
bartender?
guess so, because that's, I
Well, they'll
mean,
make
there's
the
another
service.
option that they offered that if we wanted punch in that, we could, I think it's $50 for whatever they're punching at, but I told them if Randolph did it, it sounded good, just to have water and soda. And
Okay.
yeah, that's all included in the price as
That
far as
doesn't
the
work.
$7 a head.
Oh.
And I should add, there's no minimum on that, so I was kind of skeptic. I know I was talking to Mr. Zacco, if he had any head count, what the numbers were in the past. I did talk to Mrs. Waterworth when her daughter had their junior prom, and I think they had 70-some people plus the court, so. But I know in talking and getting together this contract with Springbrook, she said there was no minimum, and I agree with the wedding venue that looks like this. It's, maybe a little high price for high school kids, but these juniors have worked hard to get the money that they have, and they have the money, so.
Okay.
But,
So there's all around it.
and they have view to the outs, they have access to the outside for pictures, even outside. We're in the upper top of the barn, and they have inside the barn, and they can also be outside the barn. Just have to probably get more chaperones.
So then that was another question I had. So like, Morgan, what time is prom supposed to start? And then what time are you guys allowed out to take pictures?
So prom is supposed to start at 8, I believe, and then we're allowed to be out there anytime during the day.
This whole property you're able to be?
We
on?
have, I have it on the contract from 7 to 11,
Okay,
so it's, and then we
But
have
they
2
told
hours.
me that we can go.
And I mean, it's.
but for sure at 7,
Yes.
guaranteed, like an hour before. the
Yep.
prom.
So,
Right.
so at Crestel or at the school last year, how many people are chaperone?
We've had 6 to 8,
Sometimes 9, yeah.
sometimes 9.
And how many will you need for something like this where
I
kids can
think-
wander wherever?
I know talking with Mara, the contact person there, they have a downstairs port that they can chain off, but we definitely need to have chaperones kind of guarding those spots. Some outside, I think 8. They do have a person there so they have, probably have a bartender there too, but the owner and that, she said is they always have someone during an event that's there, that's, a Springbrook person, so.
I mean, if you approve it, I would like to sit down with them and talk about a little bit about like, once you're in the prom, we're not
Right.
going back out by
Right.
ponds, we're not going outside.
Yeah.
I would set some rules up that would help us with supervision, because otherwise it's a really big space that we would have to control.
I think once it starts, pictures and that stuff are done. I mean, yeah, we'll have to, when we see the place and that limit,
Yeah.
this is the limit once, it starts at 8, but up to that time, I suppose, yeah, for pictures, they can go over it.
So this
During the
is-
Do we
whole-
have to have, what is our risk involved? Is there more insurance that's involved in something like this?
It's
Or is
they, with the contract, I didn't give you all 8, 9 pages, but they have the insurance and all that stuff, so. Like I said, we've always gone to Kestel Ridge, so it's a little farther,
I guess the other thing, why aren't we at Kestel Ridge then this year?
At the time that we had it at the school, they have new ownership, and it's, they upped the prices,
They
they
added a lot
limited the
of
food,
restrictions.
Yeah.
and it's, And we had it last year, and I guess being the junior advisor, I kind of put my foot down and say, we're gonna have it this year, but, you know, I give the juniors credit, and it's, I told Morgan to, you know, if she wanted to look into it, she could, and I give them credit for, this is what they want, they've got the money, they've worked hard, and I think they're deserving of it, if you want my opinion, I'm all for it.
So this is the inside upstairs where we would use, and so back here is where we put the tables and like all the desserts and stuff like that, because then at the front, up here where the chairs are, there's a dance floor, and there's also a big stage up there that we could have the people from Grand March walk out onto themselves.
Is this something that we can rent out for the next 10 years?
Well, I doubt it, because I think they're pretty busy, but I know being a junior advisor, it's something that I could, like even maybe Keston Ridge, I know.
Because what are the juniors next year gonna try to one up us on? I mean, it's
Well, the big thing is the money.
Right,
The big thing is
actually,
the
this
money.
class has won so much in the coming from stuff, that's why they have.
That's the big thing, is that they're limited with their funds, so we.
Is there anything we could do, like when it comes to sign up, if there are people that the transportation could be a barrier, obviously this is a little further, like, is there something like, could they sign up in the office even, like, and you could help them like find carpools, or if we go take a school van or something in the
Or a
end,
couple
like-
vans if we have
Right,
chaperones,
right.
could you do that?
Mrs. Liebenfeld did volunteer that she would drive, and I can, Mr. Anderson did pop in today before he left today and said, you know, if that's something that you really want to do, we could have obviously it's got to be somewhat cost effective. We're not going to drive a bus over people or something, but I mean, if there's a sign up and people want it, I'm sure we could provide that. I mean,
I just wanna make sure, especially
the
with
principal
freshmen.
does have his bus license. He could drive a group of people over. So.
It certainly looks beautiful. I just.
Yeah.
Next year's junior class.
He just told you himself.
They're gonna be, well, it's gonna, I don't know how much funds they have. A lot of it limited,
You guys work hard for the money that they have.
a lot of it's limited to their funds, what they have.
And how hard they work to it.
And you know, I guess if you think of it this way, I mean, everybody that's in high school right now gets to enjoy it. It's not like
Yep.
the juniors are the only ones that are enjoying it. They have to pay for it. Somebody else can enjoy it.
I mean, they've talked, and like I said earlier, I talked to the freshmen, sophomores that I have in classes and that stuff for homecoming. They go to Madison, they go to things, so, but I think maybe offering a bus or a van, I mean, we got this, I mean, for the students that
We can
wanna
finalize
go
all
that have a problem with, we could offer that, I think. And if, just like an activity bus, people sign up and pay money, you get a bus, if not, you don't run it. I mean, I guess that could be a,
And there wasn't a
Possibility.
single person on the list of people that we had asked that said no, and we also got all those names in a single day, which we haven't had more time to do it, but we got all those names in a day and we could have gotten.
Olivia's on that list, and she never asked permission. Wow, lack of communication in the pizza.
The time piece, like you said, is something I would say, maybe in the future, we look at when it comes to policies, is like, if the junior class is gonna apply for off-site, like, facility, we need it by like, you know,
October.
February or something, you know, something
Yeah.
early, just to make sure that we get, like, this is great, this is great information, and like, I totally get why I'd wanna be there too if I were you, but I think just for our planning purposes in the future, maybe we make some sort of like timeline just to.
I don't think this, I think the first time the group has tried to venture out.
Yeah.
well, like Morgan said something, and I don't know when you found out the venue was open, but I mean, that could be it
Well,
too.
when everyone was talking about having it at the complex, and they were all kind of like, about it, and then I was thinking, and we had waited a little bit too long because we weren't technically allowed to plan for prom until a certain day. So then by the time we started looking for venues, they had all been taken or they were way too expensive. And so I just thought, yeah, I work at an events place, let's see what's open. And so this weekend happened to be open, so I figured why not give it a shot. And then it got everyone's opinions, everyone loved it, everyone's willing to spend the money on it and go the distance.
Also, you guys did a very good job with your preparation. And how much time and effort you put into. Does administration have any like other concerns other than what we brought up?
My concerns are travel and travel back to post prom, security during the event itself, obviously principal questions. But otherwise, I mean, I'm gonna chaperone it, whether it's there at the complex to be, I mean, that's what it is, it's their prom. And I would guess, just knowing the kiddos, they're not signing up the yellow school bus to go over there. That'd be just my guess, but I'm sure they're gonna find a ride, but if someone needs it, we'll provide it.
So that would be my biggest,
With
my
some sort of
concern
minimal
would just
cost
be
or whatever we
locking
can do.
closing it off after a certain point, because that is I know last year when I was here for a little while, I don't know if it was prom or homecoming, Brian, but I do remember some kids sneaking out, and I remember you coming out and being like, get back inside, like, and having to monitor it, and this is a much bigger area, so, maybe not quite as easy as the complex for you to monitor, but I would think if you kind of set up times that you have set up the guidelines and just have people at certain doors, you know, it's a nice big area for them, like, you definitely have a lot more rooms here.
Oh, yeah.
I would agree, it's pretty compact and complex. And there's also a great space up there that the DJ could set up, and which is where they always set up for the weddings, and there's a sound system, lights coming out of the floor and everything, so.
I was gonna say, so ultimately, like, you're probably gonna get the phone calls through RMA, so I guess I'll look for what administration recommendation on.
I think we would go along with the kids' recommendation for this. The parents will have to make some decisions on how they want to transport their kids, but as you said, they allow them to go to Madison and back anyway, so the parents will have responsibility of getting their kids where they want to get them in the safest way possible. I mean, there's kids who live 15 minutes from school that got to drive 15 minutes to school to get to the prom too. So travel is the only thing. We just want them to be careful, and parents will be actively involved in keeping them safe.
And if it says anything, Randolph's had it there, you know, other schools have had it there, so I mean, and a lot of schools go outside their school to have prom. Said we've done it before, Kestrel Ridge for how long, so yeah, it's maybe a little longer, but I think the same thing. It's a nice venue, and I think it's a treat for the kids. Prom's a special time for them, and it's neat to have it at a special place.
Especially because I do think, I mean, they did miss out on, you know, they all missed out on seniors and stuff.
And Brian, you think you will get enough chaperone type stuff?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. If you approve it, we'll man it.
If you vote yes, you chaperone.
Sounds like you're hired.
That would be Kenny and Jeff. Just so you guys know.
Initiation.
Actually, you will be there also.
I think I'm gonna make it mandatory if you're on the court, your parents have to shout.
Morgan, you really sold it well. My daughter's name's on the list, and she never communicated. Very disappointed in this. But consider me blindsided.
Yeah. I didn't even look at the list at a second.
I'll tell you what, I'll make a motion that we allow them to go to the Springbrook. Springbrook. to have
I'll
it,
second.
All right, we have a motion by Guy, second by Ember. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you for your work, kids.
Thank
You feel like you're in the movie. Derek, you feel like you're in the movie
Go
Footloose?
get it rented for the next 10 years.
You were trying to bribe us?
All right, and next up, we'll move on to number 7C, the discussion and possible action on additional paid track coaching position.
Over the years, in programs, we've got numbers that are growing, and this year, I think we're close to 50 in track and field. And so right now, we're have 2 coaches that are splitting a full-time position, and really this request is just to allow both those coaches to get paid a full contract. We paid 3 coaches in other sports that have lower numbers, so we're just kind of requesting for a full paid coach because of the numbers of track.
And these coaches were hired through the normal hiring process, so they already been vetted, and anyone who was interested could apply. These people were willing to accept the position without full pay.
Do we have a formula typically for coaches in terms of sports and
I mean, we used to, our goal is always to kind of keep personnel anywhere from 10 to 12 kids per coach is usually the goal. Cody was able to go get some language, but I thought there were other schools, Deerfield and Partyville both have specific language on, once you get to a certain number, we add a coach. I don't know if we necessarily want to tie ourselves into that, because our numbers do go up and down, and also depending on who's coaching it, what sport, and how many kids are in class, but in this situation, I do think that, these coaches are doing the job anyway. We do have large numbers in track. It's a really nice gesture to give them the full pay.
Those
So I
numbers
don't
are
know.
in your packet as well.
Yeah, so
don't know
I
if you
just
guys
didn't know
saw
if we
them.
had our own language about like for different sports.
I don't think we have a specific write-out that says that for this one, we did a third culture. Like we said, we generally, in the system that I remember, it's always around that 10 to 12 athletes to coach ratio.
Because I finally, I guess, I don't know this to be true, that we probably have just as many middle school athletes or more, and probably less coaches, or,
Two hired middle school coaches right now.
because I just
And then a
want to
volunteer.
make sure we equitable amongst levels. If we're saying 47 kids is a lot, and then we're saying if there's a middle school coach, he's got 47 kids with 2 coaches or something.
How many middle school we have,
Not off the top of my head.
but we have 3 people working with them.
We have 2 paid and then one that I was helping yesterday was a volunteer and bus driver.
Okay. So they've got 3 working with the middle school. There's mostly herding cats.
I'm totally.
Middle school has 28. I'm getting text, Cody must be online. 28 with 2 coaches for middle school.
So currently there were like 2 coaches splitting 1 paid position to high school, sorry, back to high school.
Yeah.
Because when this got posted initially, someone said, oh, we're hiring another track coach, and I had interest, and I looked and just saw it wasn't on weekends, so I was like, oh, I don't know if we were hiring somebody.
No.
So it was, we currently have.
They had
2
already
people.
gone through the hiring process and just accepted a lesser pay to help out.
Sometimes when you go through the interview process, we'll have 2 candidates and then we'll ask if they both are willing to, if you're able to come on, if you get 2 coaches instead of 1 for that 1 position. I think that might have been the situation, how both got hired.
So I just want to make sure there wasn't any confusion. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that there wasn't anything like, oh, this coach came in and was good, so we just brought them on, we, get approval later and. Any other questions?
How much is the pay?
I don't have it out in front of me, maybe, but I'm guessing it's probably like a $1,500 to, it's not gonna go over, it'll go from like 1,000 probably to like 1,500 or something like that. Or 700 to 1,500. Maybe it's $2,000, maybe each, we got 1,000 right now, and we go to 2,000, it would double the pay, obviously, but.
And then would this position likely stick around, would this be like, will there be 4 consistently each year, or would we go back to the drawing board next year at 3?
I think you'd have to look at your numbers again, that's why I wouldn't lock yourself into, your numbers drop to 30 again, or, lower than, you wouldn't need that many coaches again, you wouldn't want to have.
If that happened, we'd probably make a recommendation to go back. And if it went up to 60 kids, we'd go, well, maybe.
Or we should bring some language that
Then
you
how-
might want to have some of that numbers when it goes up to the offer position, or.
So then how do you determine if the 4 coaches, which 3 you're keeping if you don't?
Well, that's just pretty easy, because we're losing a head coach.
Oh, yeah, that's true. So that would be.
And they would be
I'm
I'm just
seniority
thinking
based?
after that, like you would just go by senior, that's one
Or you
thing to
could
worry
just
about.
split those picks, if they don't want to stay on, you can split pay again,
Less
because the
pay.
enrollment's not there. You wouldn't necessarily get rid of the coaches, like, they go back to where they were previously.
All right, we will take a motion on, or any further discussion.
I'll make motion to approve on an additional track coach.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Guy, second by Nathan. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is discussion of possible action on employee benefits package.
We'd hope to have something on health insurance. We don't have those final numbers yet. The brokers are still working on that with Quartz Insurance. But the one benefit that we had talked about with some board members and some staff was trying to find a way to honor them besides the cash, and extra pay that we're gonna go to. We're just so thankful for our staff, what they've gone through in the last year. And we're considering adding a 1 PTO day to all the support staff and all the teaching staff. It's not a real high extra cost to the district, but it's a thank you for what all you've done and let you know we appreciate you, and this is a good place for you to be. So we're looking at an extra PTO day except for like the 3 of us.
And currently employees get 11 or 10.
Teachers get 10.
10.
I think support staff have 9.
One additional. And they can use, and if I remember correctly, there's not like separate sick leave, okay, it's just time off.
It's all just PTO.
And then anything about dental, or would that be next month? when we-
That's what we found out, 0 increase.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. We're still fighting with health insurance.
Do we need to say separate motion we take on that?
The motion for the PTO day would be probably appropriate right now.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to add 1 PTO day to teachers and
Support staff.
support staff.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ashley, second by Ember for the extra PTO day for staff. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Discussion of possible action on summer school courses and wages.
Most of them were looking at the wages. Summer school pay for teachers has been 25, and for support staff has been 14. And they haven't raised in a long time, from what I gather. And when you look at what a teacher normally makes, for many people, this is a really small part of what they make during the school year. And to encourage people to do summer school, it's really a thing that, again, doesn't cost all that much extra to do this. We'd like to raise it to $30 for a teacher and $15 for an instructional aide who would help us out in summer school.
I'll make a motion to raise the teaching pay of $5 an hour and support staff $1 an hour for summer school.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Guy, second by Ashley to increase summer school wages. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is discussion and possible action on salaries for certified staff.
You put this handout in your packet. You can hopefully look at it. On the left, you got the current salary schedule, and on the right, we're looking at is a 3.9% increase for teachers, not really close to what inflation is right now, but at least it'd be a bump. What we do the most, the recommendation is to let everyone move a step down. If you're on step B, down your step C, move them a step, and we added $750 to the base and $750 to the top of the salary schedule. So you can see you put the step and the $750 together. That'd be about $2,000 per teacher. When I look at the other districts around here, our base is pretty decent. $40,750 would be our base. We'd be very competitive, if not one of the better ones in our little local area. This would start helping us move the top closer to maybe where it should be also. I think next year when we look at this, we'll probably do something where it's not $1,250 per step, but we can maybe make the steps further down a little bit bigger, so we can start pushing the top up as teachers get closer to that. That would make us even more competitive there. Starting pay is really pretty good compared to other school districts around here, but I think this will help us continue moving forward with the top of our salary schedule to reward those who've made their career here in Fall River.
Do people who are at the top, do they get the amount as a stipend, or do they not get any increase then?
Technically, we have nobody at the top.
Okay.
Everyone is still moving down the steps, or they're moving the $1,250 increase from wherever they were last year. Yeah.
Do we have language on that, just in case, or when?
I'm pretty sure that's in the handbook, yeah.
I guess it's something you probably.
I know it was reviewed a couple of years ago. I
Yeah.
think we added language.
Yes.
And how does this affect the budgeting for forecasting?
Well, when I look at the Baird forecast, we have a little bit of cushion because we have the ESSER relief money that we didn't spend it all, we're saving it. That appears that with the data we have today, makes this doable this next year, sustainable if the state will, as they say, fill in the gap, the cliff that they've created with no increase in for 2 years. If when we come back in the next biennium budget, 200 is a pretty normal, 175, 200 per year, and they didn't give us 200 one year, they didn't give us 200 this next year. So the third year, another 200 should mean they should give us $600 per pupil. Well, I'm not gonna bet my house that that's gonna happen, but if they would give us 350 that first year and then go normal after that, this appears to be very doable according to the model.
Yeah, I had a very interesting conversation with our state senator too about this, exactly kind of asking any advice you can give. I don't have a crystal ball. And it was kind of like, you know, you gotta pay your teachers, which I totally agree with. And then she kind of was like, and she said, people have been liking referendums because they can dictate where their local tax dollars go. I don't really love referendums personally, and I wish we didn't have to go to them, but obviously I think we have to keep our teachers and keep, you know, supporting them this way. So
When you look at our, pretty much every district around here is doing something very similar to this. If we didn't do this, I think we'd start falling behind. Most of the districts say, the state didn't give us the money, but we got to pay our people, and we got to show the state we need the money because we got to pay our people, and we've got to, the lights are going up and the food costs are going up. So they don't want to not pay staff because the state didn't give us money yet. And like a lot of districts are dipping into extra money this year to balance the budget. We haven't touched it yet as far as balancing the budget. So we've got enough left for next year that appears we're in okay shape with that.
thank you very much for this, and thank you for the staff that provided input too. This is glad that we can find a combination to honor their work.
We had a really nice meeting with, and Nathan was there that day, and he met with us and Ryan and Brian and a number of teaching staff and kicked ideas around. And then the same thing happened with support staff. Will be on our next, we met with support staff to do the same kind of talks about what they'd like to see.
Take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the wages for certified staff.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ashley, second by Ember for certified staff salaries. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is discussion and possible action on wages for support staff.
So you also got the same kind of thing that this year and next year is for the people who are on the administrative assistants, custodial maintenance, library, food service, and special ed aids, same kind of thing. What we're looking here is slightly different. We're looking at adding 65 cents to every cell, but not moving people across the cells. If you move them across the cells, we wouldn't be able to put 65 cents for everybody. And then some would get a higher amount and some wouldn't get very much. So for this year, I'd like to add 65 cents to every cell, but keep them in the cell they are, so every single person gets that raise. When I do the comparables with local districts here, most of this, we need to add to the bottom and to the top of the schedule to keep us competitive. And you look at this to give us a starting wage like a special aid of $14.65. That's not incredibly high in our local, what's going on recently, but this is a 4.1% increase overall for this group of staff. But in most cases, it would be help us keep up with other area districts and where their pay has been.
I'll make a motion to give the 65 cents to the support staff.
We have a motion by Guy, second by Ashley to approve the support staff wage increase. Any further discussion?
I skipped the bus drivers on there. May have to amend the motion.
Okay.
I also wanted to add $2 per route to the bus drivers, which would be a half route would be adding $1 then. They were at 30. I'd suggest we go to $32 per route, or 16 for a half route, and then add $1 to the hourly rate for when they are doing extracurriculars, driving the bus for sports teams or forensics or whoever. So I'd like, if you wouldn't mind adding the bus driver pay to that motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the 65 cents for the support staff and $1 for the bus drivers and the $2 for the route drivers.
All right, so we have a motion by Guy, second by Ashley to approve the support staff and bus driver wage increase. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up, discussion of possible action on staffing recommendations. We have 1 hiring and 2 resignations.
All right, so I just want to thank Heather Robbins and Joe Bedlin for helping out this week. Monday, I believe that was, we interviewed for the Title I position and we hired 3 solid candidates. Jenna Reese is the candidate I'm gonna recommend that we hire. Jenna's currently a first grade teacher with us here. She's been here throughout her career. She was colleague with Susie in the first grade team. I think everybody is very impressed with Jenna. Overall, I think she is excited to take on this new position. I think she will be here as a Fall River Pirate. It will be a great colleague to the teachers, to the students, to myself, and everyone. I think she would just be fantastic hire for us. She's currently in school for this position, so she's getting the latest current information around what it means to be a Title I teacher. And she is very motivated to do a great job. She's already talking about how can she help kids, not just during the school year, but in the summer also.
Any discussion? And we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to hire Jenna Reese as a Title I reading teacher.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Nathan, second by Ashley to approve Jenna Reese as the Title I reading teacher. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries, except we have staff resignations.
You've got the Cody Schultz's resignation letter there. If you've read through it, thanks again for the five years I believe he's been here. He has helped us in the process. He didn't sit down in the interviews, but he helped us look into the to candidates to replace him. He's out right now giving a tour to one of the people who's coming for an interview later on tonight. He does ask there if he would waive the $2,000 breach of contract for liquidated damages for not coming back next year. We have set precedents with someone else this year that we, as long as you're willing to be on the phone and call and take calls and help us get the new person ready and orientated. We did the same thing already this past year. So I'd recommend is accept his resignation without the $2,000 liquidated damages. If you cut out in the middle of the year, maybe, but he's going wait till the end of the year. So it's,
Who's the other one? That
Paul Barks.
Oh.
I'll make a motion to approve Cody Schultz's resignation with the waiver of the $2,000 breach of contract.
I'll second that.
And I do want to add to that to thank Cody for his 5 years of service here. He did a lot for our district.
Thank you.
We have a motion by Ember, second by Nate to approve Cody Schultz's resignation with the waiving the breach of contract. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next up is another resignation.
We have Tabitha Stelter. She is our current guidance counselor. Tabitha has accepted a new position in our school district. I want to thank Tabitha for her service here this year and wish her the best of luck.
Are we doing exit interviews with both of these? Who does
Yeah,
those?
we have offered that, yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Tabitha Stetler.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Ashley, second by Ember to approve the resignation of Tabitha Stelter, excuse me. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. District reports.
All right, so I just want to take a little bit and thank a couple people in the and Susie and the PBIS team. We met tonight for about an hour. We are planning the pirate hunt coming up on June 20th. We have a lot of interest in it. We have about 176 participants at this time. T-shirt orders are in. If anybody would register at this point, they could certainly register. However, they wouldn't necessarily get the T-shirt. It should be a great engagement event for kids and families to come over on June 20th, 6 o'clock. May 20th, I keep saying June.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys want to celebrate? So May 20th, internet, so it'll be a great event. Last thing, just this month, it's pretty heavy in the special ed arena right now with different audit pieces I've submitted and we've gone through and been on the phone with DPI and working through those things. We've done we're doing a good job there. Nothing major coming up on the audit at this point. The staff have done a great job making sure our IEPs are being written in the way that our updates need to be done. And just the staff alone, just their attention to detail as they're writing the IEPs and the conversations I'm having with them, and being able to manage their time, still working with kids throughout the day, but then next week having 3 or 4 IEPs to prepare for and paperwork that goes along at the same time. It's a stressful time of year, but they handle it in stride, and I think they're doing a great job. So I think they should be commended for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're just saying thank you. So
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks to Mr. Paul, Mr. Troutman, and the students for coming in today. Also, even Morgan for popping in for the presentation. Really proud of our kids. Couple other things on the top of the list. We talked previously about Metalcraft and a potential donation. We are still looking at that donation from Metalcraft. Mr. Anderson is going to connect with Lamira, who has gotten Metalcraft Learning Lab. We're looking at some different pieces. We did also get a welding simulator. So you actually, I was able to do my first couple welds with the, your little simulator and the phone, and you can weld in there. That's a really nice purchase for the tech ed area. So that was really cool. But we will be moving forward with that at some point. But we're looking at some simulator wands and some robotics. But he really wants to get a feel of what Lamira has and how he's worked with it. So we're taking our time to make sure that fit will work, but that will come shortly. I think in the near future or before next year, I hope. ACT scores are in. Overall, junior class did a great job. Scores went up, average 20.22 is our composite score right now, which is up from last year, which is good. Forward testing is underway. ACT Aspire is almost done. There's a couple students out there yet that we have to finish up that we're trying to finish up here as soon as we can. I'm also in the process of having English interviews. We have an English position we'll need to fill. We'll have interviews next Tuesday for that. And then something really neat and cool. Went down with Mr. Hartman today to Suntory, to a technology company, and looked at some cool, I know we've had some comments about airflow and air quality, but also this device would then also detect any kind of violence or aggression words that we use, kind of like the computer does when you type it. It detects vape and vape vapors, things like that. That could be a new technology that we could look at getting in certain areas of our building. So that was pretty cool. If you want information on that, email me. I'll share it with you. I just got that just a little while ago on my email. Shout out to Mrs. Gregorio, Mrs. Trotter, leading our academic bowl. We placed 4th, I believe, overall in the academic bowl in our conference. They're doing a really great job of promoting and getting our students involved and competing. Math meet heads up. Shout out to Nathan Wenzel and Eric Hoffman as well. They just did the math meet last Tuesday night. And then also thank you, Mr. Burr, for letting us get Jimmy John's for all those kids that participated in both those events. That's awesome. Lucas and Autumn did a great job with the musical, so they gave you all the information, so I don't have to go through that. So that was really good. And then just a shout out again for Kendra and Amy. Really kind of goosebumps tonight on the work that they're doing. So really proud of them as well. So.
Thank you very much. It's it can be a weary time with that list of things going on in school. So keep up the stamina, everybody. Keep up the Jimmy Johns and do what you gotta do.
Oh, some other dates. May 14th, obviously we just talked about the prom. May 18th is the awards. We're gonna have that again, scholarship night here at school. And then Keith just whispered that broad prize start tomorrow. So DFW broad prize.
And it's 11 to 1, correct, at the foundry?
10:30 to 1.
10:30 to 1, okay.
You better be there by 11 if you want.
And one thing I want to mention too, so graduation, Mr. Book had emailed me for our board speaker, and I don't want to speak for anybody. But
It's not an initiation, it's tradition.
well, I wanted to recommend to our board for Ember to be our spokesperson for the school board welcome. With her many years of service and having a graduating senior this year, I thought she'd be the perfect candidate, but obviously.
She's gotten out of it so far.
Oh, is this your first one?
Oh. Scooted for 9 years.
So as long as everyone's okay with it, I can let Mr. Book know and I'll send you, he sent me the practice date and the time for graduation too. I'm sure you already know that, but I'll forward it on to you, just let you know.
2 practice days
Unless
for
the
you.
newbie, unless anybody else, I don't wanna step on toes.
You got it.
We'll go there and cheer and get some tips. Mr. Burr.
You got my report in front of you, and I would just highlight some of the data on referendums. And as Derek talked, no one likes going referendum for when they're a lot of work. But there's the ones that were non-recurring passed at a 92% rate this past year. So most schools aren't going to ask for money unless they need the money. So that was encouraging. I mentioned the conference I'm going to, and the bottom one, that I am running for the WIA Board of Control. So tomorrow's the last day that ballots can be submitted. There's probably a good chance I'm going to get on, because I was running against somebody. Then when the ballot came out, their name wasn't on the ballot anymore. So I don't know what happened to him or why his name was not on the ballot, but originally it was. And
I
it
tried
wasn't.
looking, who's in our region for WA? I really couldn't find it. What's our region represent like?
It goes from, it's District 6, so I'm up around, not too far north of Marcus Sand, over towards Partyville, down just east of Madison, all the way to the state line and over towards Burlington, and then back up towards Waupun. And I've got something in my office that shows that there are 7 districts in the state. So really, it's about 75 schools per district.
Are we having a watch party or anything for this?
I don't know they'll be on the teleprompter at all, but so if it does happen, it's really cool. If you go to a state tournament, you'll say Dennis Burr, District Administrator from Fall River, and then they always introduce us that way. So it's really a cool thing for Fall River. I think would be the first administrator in Fall River to serve on the Board of Control.
Well, we're cheering for you. Good luck.
Good luck.
And thank you for your williness to
Thank you
serve.
for
There's not a strong write-in.
Yeah, it could be. You had it up. Don't vote for you.
All right, so next up, we will make a motion, or I will make a motion to adjourn to closed section for Wisconsin statute 19851C, which will be for salaries for non-represented staff, and then for 19.81851C for athletic director interviews.
Two different.
Oh, sorry, just for the first one, just for the salaries for non-represented staff. So I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
I will second.
And we'll do a roll call. So just looking for a yes. Guy?
Yeah.
Ashley?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Eric? Oh, it's yes, and Nathan.
Yes. I was like, what?